and then somebody asked you an opinion about voting or economic
actual situation. She asked a specific question,
which tells me, to your point, that y'all just on camera lying. You have an opinion. You just don't want to say what your opinion is.
You have an opinion. White power. That's the opinion.
Do you remember the Chappelle episode where he was a black white supremacist?
But he was blind.
And he was blind?
Hilarious.
He in the thing talking about white power!
Hey y'all, welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm your girl, Zar Eleanor. I am here with my beautiful husband, Zar Conner. And we are back and we are talking all things Love is Blind. By now, we've dropped that we are pregnant and having a human. And I want y'all to know today I'm fighting for my life. We were actually going to film Ready to Love today. We watched Ready to Love as well. But Joe has such a visceral reaction. Joe said so many poignant things last night. You know, we thought it was a really good idea to just come and get these things off our brain while they were still relatively fresh.
This 3 episodes.
Exactly. So if you're new here, do us a favor. We are married. We do love each other. We making humans out here. Bust down and subscribe to the Spammy Tapping channel. Every little bit helps. Joe got to feed more mouths nowadays. So.
For real.
For real. So help us out if you can. So we'll start with Joey and Monica. Joey and Monica meet with Monica's sister, whose name I still don't know.
And doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter. And they meet with her. It's very obvious that Monica done aired her out 3 days in a row.
She would have had to.
For her behavior.
She was a different person.
She was literally a different person. And her sister was a different person. But Monica's sister was also fighting the old person coming out of her. She was having glimpses of like, I know I need to get it together, but I still think you fake.
Yeah, she really was. Like, she was trying to, she was definitely nicer, definitely a different person. And from what we saw last of her, I saw her and thought Monica must have aired her out. She must have gotten her all the way together.
But it felt like Monica's energy was even defensive when watching it. By defensive, not defensive, protective.
Yeah.
Which is so fascinating because I didn't even make this correlation yesterday. This is what people expected with David and Lauren. You don't get to just say and be any kind of way with my spouse.
Right.
The moment he came back and said the energy was off, she took it upon herself to be like, no, this is something that we need to talk about. And I thought a lot of her for that.
1,000%. And she heard her spouse, right? Because Joey also had a backbone and said, listen, your sister is a hater.
Yes.
I don't know what else to tell you. Like, she was giving me nasty energy. And like more importantly than that, she was giving you nasty energy. Right. And I could tell that, like, taking me out of it, y'all need to talk. Because it's definitely something weird going on between y'all two.
It's definitely something
And it felt like she heard Joey and showed up and really had her fiance's back in a way that, like you said, David did not have Lauren's.
Right.
Also in a way that, like, says to the people around you, this is not a question. And I think, too, often we go into these interactions as if we're asking our friends and loved ones permission. The reality of it is, if you really love that person, it's not a question. It's not, do you accept Joey? It's, I'm giving you an opportunity to accept Joey.
Right. And if you don't,
then that's on you.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And I really like that energy because it really makes me feel like they're serious, which she said they were. And I believe them. I really do. I think that I honestly think we're going to get a lot of couples out of this season.
I do too.
I think we're going to get a lot of couples.
More than we got on Married at First Sight.
Child. Truth is, I'm tired. But I see Joey and Monica being together. I also see both of them participating in something like this and it flourishing.
Yeah, I mean, they seem like they got a real vibe to me. They seem like they really like each other in the real world. You know what I mean? Not on
Yes.
camera, not in the pods. They seem like they really just gel with each other, which is even more reason why it shouldn't matter what nobody got to say. Your mama, your mama's mama, your granddaddy, your dad, your
But
hating ass sister.
right,
It
because it
doesn't
wasn't even the
matter.
parents, it was the sister. So let me say this. We watched 3 episodes. It's still boring.
Yeah,
You
like
know what I mean? Like, despite the fact that we had opinions about it, we could have opinion about, toilet paper.
right.
Which there are good reasons to have opinions about toilet paper. I hate to go there, but like,
Yes.
just saying, all of you out there using one ply,
Roughing it.
it feels very
Barbaric.
post-apocalyptic.
Yes.
The point I'm trying to make is that they had a beautiful engagement shoot.
Yeah, they did.
I thought it was really cool how the sister was trying to get them to show their personalities and everything like that. And I think it's really cool to see the couples do things like this together. You know what I mean? Without all the drama. Like, I like watching people fall in love.
Yeah, that's why I told y'all on the other video about one of the other shows. Like, that's why I watch these shows. I don't watch it to see like somebody get a drink thrown in their face or to be, seeing who cheated on who and who slid in whose DMs or whose ex popped up on a TikTok. I don't care about none of that. I like, the love stories, and just in doing life with another human being, drama comes naturally. You don't need to produce it.
And I don't even always like produced drama because
I hate it.
my life is really easy peasy. And, I'm manifesting that it stays in that realm. You know what I mean? Because, like, although it can be life, I don't have a rough, hard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't even like watching stuff like that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
The produced drama really bothers me because it's just so unnecessary, especially if you're really trying to help people cultivate healthy relationships.
Yeah.
I hate, during this episode where they bring in all of the singles from the pot. For what? That's the only reason why you would do that is drama. There's no other reason why you would take all of these seemingly happy, newly engaged couples and then bring all of their past flings into the same space with them and film it. It would only be for ratings and drama. And those are the parts that I don't like.
Do you feel like they did it later this year? It feels like it happened later in the process.
Maybe it did. I mean, it typically does happen.
It's like a day before. It's like 2 days before or something like that. I don't know. I can honestly.
It typically does happen when they get back from the honeymoon and all of that stuff. So maybe they wait. Maybe they did wait a little bit this year. But I just feel like y'all can hold it out. We don't need it at all. Yeah,
because it really does give people the opportunity to kind of like
question themselves, question the person they picked, other people to lie and tell all of this. The one girl with the purple hair coming in lying. I don't believe a word she said.
We got to get there, babe. We got to get there. I really don't have nothing else to say about Joey and Monica. They eat at an arboretum. They talk about getting deep and having deeper conversations. Monica says something about PDA and how she's not a PDA person, but at that same thing we were talking about, the, I guess, resort where they were doing the tubing, she says she saw the other couples interacting and touching each other and kissing each other, and she thinks that is something that she wants. Now, granted, she did contradict herself. She said, I don't want any PDA, literally, but I want you to, I don't know, touch me or, be close to me. But I understood what she was saying. Like, still checking. You know what I mean?
No, I don't. Okay. This is to me, this is exactly why I don't like when the couples get around each other. Because sometimes it's a lot of monkey see, monkey do. Comparison kills.
Yeah.
Comparison kills the cat. 1,000%, right? Monica didn't have a problem of where the state of physical interaction stood in her relationship until she got around somebody else and said, oh, I see Tony touching Tamara's butt. Why don't you touch my butt like that? And he's like, you just said. She herself said in the same setting, I don't want any PDA. But I was looking at so-and-so, and so it made me question you. And then she turned it on him.
That is exactly kind of
That's literally what she said. It's insane. But it's a part of why I made the analogy about, couples being comparative to a newborn and being out in the real world, you wouldn't just give your newborn baby over to anybody, right? Because they are so susceptible to different things, and also just being young in the world, your brain is not fully developed, right? And so this is the same thing when you talk about these new couples. Y'all don't really have a strong foundation yet. You're not really locked in yet, right? You're not rock solid. So now you're in the world and you're seeing other couples, and now you second guessing and you thinking and you second guessing them and you second guessing yourself. And it's like, that's a part of this that I don't love, because that whole conversation was contrived off of her being insecure about how she saw other couples interacting. Don't compare yourself to other couples. You got to run your own race.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying, but I do think it's natural. I think we have friends who are more affectionate than we are. And I find myself, if I'm being honest, being like, am I not affectionate enough? I do find myself being introspective about those things. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know if I look at you like, he don't touch me enough or he don't do this enough, because I feel like every time you're around me, we touch each other. You know what I mean? But I do feel like that kind of kissing, heavy petting, that kind of thing. I often think when I'm around other people, like, should I be doing this more? So I thought it was natural.
But it's what I'm saying is, having introspective is natural, but being insecure can be brought on when you're not yet in a solid space.
Oh, it could feel like something else. Like it could metastasize into something else.
Yes, and I'm saying this isn't the same thing that you're talking about.
Okay.
Because they don't have the foundation that you do.
Yeah.
So she could be out in the world and see somebody give his girl some ice cream.
Yeah.
And it can make her second guess something, right? She honestly doesn't even know this man like that yet. You know what I mean?
But
She's
do
still
think
getting
it's
to know
weird.
him. So that's going to make you question. You can see anything from other couples, just the comparison in itself. We've seen it happen in previous seasons where couples are fine. They get into, they meet these other couples on the honeymoon, and they're all of a sudden, they have all of these questions in their minds. That's brought on by the environment.
I don't know. It is brought on by the environment. Like I said, I do think part of that is natural, especially when you're a new couple too, because you're still also trying to figure out who he is, how he is.
That's what I'm saying.
But I do think we need to be having a conversation about physical touch. You know what I mean? Like that physical touch thing, and what does it look like when it expands onto intimacy, like more physical and deeper physical intimacy? I do think it's okay to have those kind of conversations. I think where she went wrong is that she made it a comparison.
That's the only thing.
Versus like an observation.
That's the only thing I think is wrong with it. I think you should be talking about what your love language is and what works for you.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be comparing your relationship, your very new, young relationship, to everybody else around you, and now second guessing something that you said you didn't even want.
Not only that, if she knew what we knew, they are the most compatible people here.
Easily. But that's what I mean. That's what I mean, because a lot of the second guessing is fake.
Yeah.
A lot of the second guessing is now you're having this faux sense of self because of something that you're seeing somebody else do. When in reality, if they had to rank the couples, Joey and Monica would be first.
I agree. So I really don't have anything else to say about Joey and Monica, because honestly, like I said, this was boring. And I'm going to keep saying it because, I was watching a TikTok and the young lady, and I have to start screenshotting these so I can go back and show you guys who these people are. She made a valid point. She said, I don't want DEI if it means that a black woman going to come on here and get terrorized. But the problem I'm having is that this isn't as entertaining to me, partially because the bigger issue here is that I am watching women who have a pathology of Stockholm syndrome. And when I say that, I mean this has been passed down from mother to daughter, mother to daughter, mother to daughter. And to see these women interact in these spaces where they act as if they don't have any autonomy.
Yeah.
It's annoying to me. And it feels so intentionally passive.
Yes, it is.
So if I find it hard to watch, because as a woman, how is no one teaching you your value in
Right.
spaces.
Right.
So it's really becoming rather annoying. Devin and Virginia. Devin and Virginia meet Virginia's mother, who, by the way, is a state representative.
And adorable.
Let me tell you something. Virginia, I love this young woman.
Yeah.
I love
think
everything she's
great.
about. I love everywhere she's from. I just love how excellent and beautiful and stunning and worldly and all the things that she is, right?
Yeah, same.
I wish I could say the same for Devin. And I mean this with all due respect. Devin is wildly mediocre. I almost believe because he has been afforded a life that allows him to go back and forth between his, whiteness and blackness, it has increased his level of mediocrity. Like, I'm only saying that because in comparison to Virginia, I'm gonna put it like this. There's a scene where they're on a horse and carriage and she's talking about having a champagne room. This man can't even fathom what a champagne room is, right? He don't even have the imagination to take him there.
He don't.
That's a level of existence Black people don't understand, right? We have to imagine everything.
Yeah, right.
Because a lot of times that's the only thing that'll carry us to the next place, right?
We're constantly obtaining things that we haven't seen and haven't been given at a younger age.
So you're constantly looking for the new, the exciting, the brilliant, the ballsy. But when you exist in a place of mediocrity, right? And you're able to thrive in that, you don't even have to think outside of your 4-bedroom
And don't.
3.5 bath house that everybody's in a room.
Yeah.
At the very least, we didn't have to share a bathroom. You don't even think outside of that. You know what I mean? So when I say exist in mediocrity, I don't mean that as a dig. I mean that as a lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like some people have the privilege to fail up. Some people have the privilege to be mediocre and get to places that make them seemingly like these brilliant people, right?
Yeah.
From the outside looking in. But in truth, there's no depth to it.
Yeah.
And when I see Virginia, I almost feel like we don't even know her. And that's primarily because I don't think she's with someone that can match her depth.
I think that she feels like her depth is being matched. The way that they're into each other makes me feel like they can actually do something, right? Because you can tell
he
likes her. Right. That's where I was going.
That's for sure.
And I think a lot of times we talk about how so many times people are so focused on so many other things rather than, does he even like you? Is he in awe of you?
Yeah.
And I
had fought y'all about that before.
Yeah, and I think that he is, and that's why I don't have a problem with them, because I think that he sees her just as excellent and as beautiful as all the things as we see her as.
Yeah.
And you say all the time, that's what you need.
And I do think that's what you need. And I wonder how much of the mental load she'll have to carry. That's what I'm saying. To lay in the bed, me and you talk about everything all day, all night. Sometimes I just be talking and Joe don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. He like, what is going on? And to see them laying in the bed and she's like, well, ask me questions. Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't have anything to ask you.
That was a weird scene a little bit.
It felt, but that's what I mean.
But
right?
It also felt like, especially when they started talking about politics and stuff, I felt like she was trying to avoid certain things or certain questions that she already had the answer to.
It felt to me like she was understimulated. And she was trying to see if she could be stimulated. It wasn't giving what she wanted because even let's back up. They sit down with her mother, this beautiful state representative, Black, beautiful woman in Minnesota.
The mom is adorable.
Which is fascinating because, y'all, I'm almost certain Minnesota went for Kamala Harris. Exactly. So it went Democratic. What I am finding fascinating, and I know I didn't get to the mama yet. Bear with my brain, y'all. Uh-huh. I know I didn't get to the mama yet. But what I find fascinating is in a city where 56%, she almost won by 16 points, of the population voted for Kamala Harris. Why are there not more liberal men on this show? it almost feels intentional that conservative, and I don't want to use the word conservative. I want to use the word MAGA, because there's a very big difference between the type of Republicans we are seeing today,
yes,
and George Bush Republicans.
Right.
For me, I don't want to call it conservative, because you all are not conservative. You're not fiscally conservative. No. You're not socially conservative. You're none of the conservatives. So then what are we talking about? We're talking about people who do believe that other people's rights should be marginalized, full stop. And they want to pick and choose what those rights are.
Because I think that the difference here is the type of conservative, quote unquote conservative that we see today is more so people who their lines are drawn along racial lines. Right? Their lines are drawn among sexual lines, right? And that's the difference between the Republicans that we are talking about back in the day, who might have genuine conservative views that have to do with government and finances and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
This feels very personal in a sense, like the conversation that we see going on in this episode, in the sense of, women's health and minorities and minority safety, when she asked the guy about George Floyd and things like that. Like, this feels personal on a different level. And what I'm seeing is that this cast is majority white, and the MAGA people that we speak of are aligning themselves with politics that really don't deal in their own economic standing, or what they want as far as their tax breaks, or what they want as far as their roads and bridges. It's aligning on the side of, I think that we are becoming extinct. There's been lying with the idea that if you have rights, that means that there are going to be less rights for me.
Which is the sheer definition of supremacy. It's so fascinating.
That's what we're talking about here. And that's why this is so inflammatory when these questions are asked about, do you have an opinion? What's your opinion on politics? And everybody is saying, oh, I don't really have an opinion on that. That's scary.
That's scary. Which brings me back to the mama, okay? I thought this woman was just insane. I just was really proud to see these beautiful Black women and how brilliant the mother was, but also how compassionate. It felt like she was giving room for him to, she asked questions. She had a lot of questions, but I also felt like she wasn't beating him with an answer stick.
No, for real.
You know what I mean?
Because it didn't feel. This is what I mean when I say I don't like when the cousin get up here and shooting questions at people, because there's a way to do it. There's an energy about it, and nothing that she did or said gave argumentative. Yeah. It didn't give I was looking for a gotcha moment. It didn't give I was looking for my own 15 minutes of fame to show you how tough I'm going to be about my little girl. A lot of times when we see the family and friends get up here, that's what it's about.
Yes. And
she didn't give that, and that's what I'm talking about when I say I don't like it, because I know that there's ways to do it like she did it, where she was asking real questions, poignant questions, very valid questions, and none of it felt offensive or degrading.
None.
Or out of line. None of it. There's a way to do it.
There is a way to do it. I really, really do believe that. And I felt like she gave grace and she just wanted to hear his answers. And the truth is, that's how you get to know people.
Right. More conversational.
Yeah.
I think that's another reason why it bothers me when I see these people do stuff. Like when I had a problem with the other show with the cousin, MM's cousin, because sometimes I know you can get to know a person better by being more conversational with them. Yeah, shooting interview questions at them is going to give you any interview answers, 1-word answers, short answers. Most time people become very defensive, and I think the way that she approached it really made Devin to bring his defenses down and just really be thoughtful in his answers and respect that she was asking those questions. Yes. Which I think he did.
The thing is, I don't feel like Devin does much double speak. I really do take him for what he says.
I do too.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like he's trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes or anything. I just don't find him exciting. And that could be Midwest stuff. That could be, you know what I mean? Just whatever the swag or the energy is of the city. In my mind, I think, and this might be a me thing, and this might be a pretty privileged thing. And this is, again, is not a dig on Devin. I just think Virginia, I don't know, her being on this process is fascinating to me. Let me say that. Like, some people, I don't think, you'll see them and don't believe that they should be a part of a process like this. Like,
but it's always a reason why they are. And
but there is always a reason
they
why
always
they are.
tend to show us.
Yeah. So she does give him the prenup papers. And at first he's a little taken aback by that. And just was like, I want my lawyer and my mom to read it over, which rightfully so. And I was telling Joe, I said, one of the biggest things about when you negotiate your prenup, the truth of the matter is she shouldn't have gave it to him. She should have said, just give me your lawyer's contact information. I'm going to contact my lawyer. My lawyer's going to contact your lawyer. And then me and you don't even have to talk about it. But you know what also that is, Joe? Another level of money people don't understand. Because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get you a lawyer. You're going to get a lawyer. I'm going to have a lawyer. We don't need, we're going to let them bill us, whatever the case may be. But I don't want this in my home. I don't want the energy in my home. And I want you to know that's how unpersonal this whole exchange is. We don't need to talk about it in the four walls here. Let them talk about it. You can tell them how you feel, because then that also allows you to be ruthless if you need to be, right? Without it coming off away to your spouse. And I want to take y'all to Ocho and Sherelle. I thought the way that they handled that contract negotiation was terrible. Like, they shouldn't have been. I feel like, first of all, if you didn't already had a draft of it, right, that you had spoken to him about, that was like a rough draft, you both shouldn't have been sitting at the table.
Right. Right, and then arguing with the lawyers there, and the lawyers is arguing.
Now you getting personal with the lawyers. That to me is like, y'all for sure got enough money to be like, you know what?
Yeah.
We already in a sensitive spot. We really want to preserve our relationship. Let's allow this to be separate. But also, I think people don't utilize their accountants, their lawyers, and everything like that to the fullest capability.
I agree.
Because I don't even think people know to do that.
I think that's part of it. I think ignorance is part of it. And then I just think also people just want to insert themselves a little too much. You don't need to be at the table arguing with the lawyer. That's what you pay the lawyer for. Literally.
But a lot of times people do that. There is something about when you're negotiating things, the emotional, the ethos of that, right? Sometimes looking into each other's eyes, things like that softens the blows on certain things. But sometimes it exacerbates. Yep. So sometimes it makes things worse. And I don't feel like he had any reason to feel a way about signing a prenup. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Y'all get y'all Metro PCS commercials together, then your money is together. But whatever little mama bought into the thing, that's her money. And your little gym or whatever, the basketballs and all that, that's yours. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's okay. And it's unfortunate that we utilize these systems so little that we're fearful of that type of aid and assistance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like going to the dentist, if that makes sense. I'm always happy I get a cleaning. I always hate going.
I know.
You know what I mean?
It's a necessary evil, yeah.
But it's a necessary evil. Now, they do talk about, the conversation with her mom. And Devin and Virginia talk about the conversation with her mom. And she asks about PDA. She asks about, let's ask each other these hard questions. Which to me is fascinating that now, after you done been to Honduras, he done met your mama. Now we want to have hard question conversations? That ain't weird?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I do feel like a lot of this stuff... here's my thing with them. I want to give them grace because I feel like out of everybody on here, all the couples on here, they've had the most real conversations that I've seen anybody have.
Yeah, because they've talked about bills and how we're going to live.
Yeah, they've had real conversations. Part of why Virginia was in the bed trying to find out if there was anything else is because they had covered so much, like real conversation. And another part of me felt like people do a little bit of self-sabotaging and they live in the, what are you going to get mad at? What are you going to kick me out with?
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
I didn't think that was a question.
There's no reason to live there. Like I said, drama happens naturally, right? There's no reason. And we see people do that where they like, oh, this is going too good. What do you hate about me?
But the problem is, right, because it's the language at which you say things, right? You just centered yourself in a problem that never happened.
Right.
So instead of you asking what does your past relationships look like? Or, you know what I mean? What was the closest you've gotten to being married? How did that relationship end? That'll give you some insight into what ticks somebody off or whatever the case may be. That doesn't center you in the problem.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's why I felt like what?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? And I think very highly of Virginia. Not that I thought it was stupid. I just thought it was, for lack of a better word, y'all come up with a better word for me, but I thought it was immature. They finally get to politics. And this part burnt me to the ground.
Me too.
And this is what I mean. I don't believe that everybody on the show should be a liberal. I don't believe that. You know what I mean? I'm saying that y'all couldn't find any liberal men.
But it's not even that. Y'all can't find anybody with an opinion. Everybody don't have an opinion.
But Joe,
that's not real.
No. That's exactly what I'm saying, Joe. You're absolutely correct. It's not about whether or not they're a MAGA or a liberal. It's about the fact that nobody has an opinion about it. Or
completely indifferent.
Which is, we know that's not the case.
We know that's not the case. And that makes it worse because we're in such a polarizing place that there's no way you could have been indifferent when George Bush was in office.
Yes.
You could have been indifferent back then, right? We're not in a place where you can be indifferent. There's so many. I just watched a video of the president of the United States calling the former president stupid to another foreign president.
Yes.
To his face on camera. So I'm saying that's unprecedented. We've never been in a time where presidents sit in the Oval Office and call former presidents stupid. There used to be a place where in the times where you could be asleep at the wheel, there would be a respect decorum there just because of the office that you held. Another president would always respect a former president, right? I remember when McCain was in a debate with Barack Obama and somebody in the crowd started saying something or booing Barack Obama.
He was at a town hall or something.
McCain was actually running against him and told the lady, hold on, what you doing?
Yeah.
This is my opponent, but this is not my enemy.
Right.
You're not going to sit here and disrespect this man.
Right.
He's an elected official, right? Those are the days where you could have been asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
This is not that time.
Or you could have had, truly believed that John McCain was going to do something conservative or whatever. Like, I truly believe that.
No, right. But I'm saying that it's that time made more sense for somebody to say, I don't have an opinion. I don't pay attention to it.
Yes.
Not when somebody is, trying to take abortion out of the realm of possibility. Not when we're talking about whether or not Black and brown people should have the same rights as somebody else, or whether LGBT people should have the same rights as somebody else,
right.
Or whether women should have the same rights. Like,
litigating
this is not
anyone's rights is the problem.
But you understand how can you not have an opinion on that?
But
that's scary.
That is scary. So I want to put in a pin in that, and this is my political pin for the day. Okay. I don't think you all understand how detrimental the conversation that President Trump and Vice President Vance had with President Zelensky. The purpose of America, this is a brief civics lesson. The purpose of America sending money in the way that we do, being a part of NATO in the way that we are, being a part of the World Health Organization the way that we are, is to establish soft power globally. Okay? So when you think about that, it's like, okay, Zelensky is the president, right? But Joe Biden is the mayor. So I might not be able to, really move anything at this level. But what I know is that it's going to trickle down to me, and we're going to have this kind of conversation where I may be able to influence a decision that you choose to make. And when there are 200 some odd countries and there are foreign powers that don't want to buy into that and really want to invade other countries because they think that that is the way to go, like they want to expand their dictatorship, that's not a safe place to be.
Right.
If Ukraine crumbles, that leads into Poland.
Right.
That leads into further moving into the UK and Europe. That is a problem for the United States. And you know what that does? That makes China a bigger superpower, because you know what China's going to do? Be Captain Save-A-Ho. And the way you all do not understand how this is trickle-down economics is beyond me. This is not a thing of, we sending too much money abroad. We're not sending too much money abroad. We're not taxing the people who live here enough.
Right.
Elon Musk has a tax bill with Europe
and not just all of Europe, like a couple countries in Europe that's worth $330 million. Do you know how much his tax bill in America is? $0. So where they're able to benefit from him thriving in their economy, we do not at all. But yet we will complain about us maintaining the soft power the best way we can in these countries where we don't have visibility every day. Y'all have to be more informed. It's starting to get frightening. And
it's frightening. It's been frightening.
It been frightening because that's the point y'all love to make. We giving money to Gaza. We giving money to this. We giving money to that. If you don't understand what dictators are, you must look it up. If you do not understand how detrimental they can be for the countries and economies around them, you must inform yourself. Let's get back to Devin and Virginia. He had an opinion about politics. But for some odd reason, he felt like, because he was on camera, the best thing to say was, I don't have an opinion about it, but I was raised conservative and I believe. So you can't believe something and have no opinion.
Right.
But that's
contradictory.
It's contradictory. And the truth is, that's what MAGA Republicans like to do. Believe something and contradict themselves. It's almost like a part of their daily conversation. It's like worked into everything they do. You can look at every other white man on here. That's all they do.
Yeah.
They say something that they believe and then contradict themselves in the same sentence. And as much as I like Devin, we have to stop occupying spaces who do not see it for our human rights.
And that's not an opinion. That is a fact. The one thing that I noticed about and watching this episode is that a lot of times I found myself feeling bad for some of these women who are talking to these men who have quote unquote no opinion about their health, their rights. And in that moment, I looked at Zar and I said, you know what I got to stop doing? I got to stop feeling bad for these people as if they're being held hostage, right? And I got to start judging these people by the people who they pick, by the people who they tie themselves to. Birds of a feather flock together. That's the saying, ain't it? And a lot of times we see these people as victims when they're really accomplices. These people who walking around the world talking about how they don't got no opinion or they don't care nothing about women's rights and they don't care to vote. And then they married to people who are affected by this, right? That to me is diabolical, but these people are choosing to be there.
Period. Imagine people have died. And this is not even imagine. The story is that people have quite literally died for your right to cast a ballot in the United States of America elections. And then you would turn around with your black face and features and say, you don't vote. That is violence against not just you, your mama, the people around you. You know what I mean? Your friends. And if y'all don't, the responsibility of voting is so massive. And it always has been.
Especially when your skin color looks like ours.
We don't have a choice. This is the only way we can dictate anything going on.
They want you not to vote.
Look at what it looked like now.
They want you not to vote. So to sit up in your brown woman's face and say, I don't even take part in this, even though I know at least enough to know that they're trying to take away your rights, but I don't take part in that. It's just as irresponsible to tether yourself to that human being.
And that's why I don't see it that's why I can't, like I like it. I ain't gonna lie, I like it because I like the way y'all look. I like the way y'all talk to each other.
Same.
But the truth is, when it gets down to the deep of it all, as a woman who has been in and out and dealing with this man for 20 years, it's no way. It's no mammy way.
You have culpability too. You are responsible too.
You just are.
I mean? And I mean you, Virginia, Lauren,
Sarah.
Like y'all are responsible too.
Yeah, you are not the victims here. The truth is, because you are an accomplice, you might like this energy if we keeping it 100, right? If you have an issue with this, and it's like an issue, it's an issue. We are talking about your human rights.
Right.
It starts. See, the thing is, it's like a seed and it grows. And I don't think people see it that way. It is so, so important for you all to listen to the things that people say. You believe that women should have the right to abortion if they speak to the man in their life?
But not only that, it's for you to say that you don't have an opinion about it and you stay out of it when you're claiming to this woman that you want to be her husband, that you want to raise a family with her, which means that you will have to one day be in a predicament where you have to make a choice about your wife's health, right? You have to literally sit in a doctor's office. They might say, you know what, you have an ectopic pregnancy, right? And we have to do something about it. Otherwise, it's going to rupture your ovary or something like that, right? You don't have an opinion about that?
You don't have an opinion
if this is going to be your wife, so would you sit in a doctor's office and say, I don't really have an opinion about it, so?
What's also bearing the lead on specifically about this silly conversation about abortion, and it's silly, is that we act as if women is behind men's back getting abortions all over the world. That's not the case. Women deal with men because they are with a man that they don't believe will step up and be the man that they need them to be in certain situations, or they did something prematurely, or it's a health thing or whatever. The point is both parties are not ready.
Why is it that you can sit up in front of anybody's face and say, this is not something that you care to vote on?
But I don't even care. Not only
that's crazy.
Am I litigating it? I would litigate it to, Bob, Joe, and whomever else. But I don't even give a fuck enough about it to get up and vote about it. Girl, y'all don't deserve nothing. And that's why I think I'm annoyed by this pairing. Because at first
they all doing it though. That's what's crazy to me about it.
I don't see it for nobody. Everybody's getting married, but I don't see it for anybody. But I feel like that's a big deal.
It is.
And to bring in your faith about it is gaslighting on a level I don't understand. I'm saying all that to say, I think they'll be okay. Just like every other, woman in the world who with a man who don't give a damn about their human rights.
We know some of them.
But they treat them good. They'll be, you know what I mean? They gonna go on and do whatever they do. But I'm divesting is what I guess I'm saying. You get what your hand calls for. Now, I will say this. Virginia looks stunning in her wedding dress. I thought that she picked the perfect one. I thought that, Virginia is a beautiful woman because all the women lit up when she walked out.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really, really sweet for her. Devin talks to Brittany. He let her know straight up, listen, I'm with the person I'm supposed to be with, and you're going to find somebody you're supposed to be with, and God bless.
And he better than me because I wouldn't give her that much. I know that this was set up by production. They made him sit outside in the cold to do it. But this is another thing where I feel like this is a waste of conversation. Y'all haven't even had a real relationship. What are we even?
They made them do that.
What are we?
Because I don't think he would have talked to her.
I don't think he would have either. Y'all wasn't even in a relationship. Now I got to go talk to this person who I talked to a couple times in a box for 2 weeks. While my fiance is sitting inside?
Yes.
Nah, you wouldn't get me to do it.
Sarah and Ben. This was my favorite one to watch, I think. And not because of Sarah or Ben, but because of Sarah's sister and her wife.
Oh, they was giving it to him.
And I loved every minute of it. Sarah and Ben chat about the conversation about his whole TikTok debacle. And what I appreciated about Sarah, if we're taking this incrementally, is that she said, if this was a woman you had just dated, I may have a different feeling about her post. But the truth is, you all dated so long ago that I'm okay with moving. Like, I feel like we should just move forward. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not going to stop me from being here. Sarah is a pick-me. And she needs love. And I don't know who didn't hug her when she was a child, but it's very clear that she wants, desperately, to be in love.
Desperately. And I don't even know that it's to be in love or to be married or to have a wedding. It's very different. People these days are getting married for very different reasons. And it could be one of either of those. And I think that that's why her sister and her woman are struggling with this, because I think they feel like she's overlooking her true identity and her true feelings because she wants a wedding, or she wants to be somebody's
Yes,
wife.
and they
or she
clocking
wants
her
to-
at every turn.
And they are doing a crazy job of clocking it because they are not letting her up for air.
And I loved every minute of it. Because the problem is that the reason why this season is also so boring is that we don't get genuine interactions.
Yes.
So it was refreshing to see these women who actually have a point of view.
Yeah.
If you do not have an actual opinion and point of view on things, you shouldn't be doing major things like getting married.
Right.
It's like silly to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now what you going to develop a decision once we in this bitch?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Like conversations and things that you're supposed to be doing to tackle big issues in marriage counseling, or before you move, to the point of marriage, y'all should be having these conversations and working through things. You can't do that if you have no idea or no opinion on things.
Exactly. Now, I did appreciate that, if I'm giving Ben grace, I did appreciate that he said to her, he is worried about her views about him changing. And I appreciated that because I think that that's him understanding that they could change. You know what I mean? Like, we're impacted by the things that people say outside of our little bubble. And it matters how you treat other people. Because it's obvious that Sarah takes that personally. Like how you see people, how you treat people, that's a big thing for her. But, as much as I thought it was nice, even the devil was an angel. So, you know what I mean? They meet with the sister and her fiance. Her fiance. And the sister, I love the sister because her silence
was so loud.
What? It was a bullhorn.
It was so loud.
She sitting here like
the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Biting her tongue. I thought her tongue was going to bleed.
Listen, biting is so bad, it's going to bleed. That's me, my girlfriend's lying. So bad, it's going to bleed. And I just couldn't even... It was fascinating because I feel like the sister knows who Sarah is. And she's watching her in this relationship. And she is just like, you're going to be one of those women who's so influenced by the man in your life that it'll change all your views on everything. And I think the sister sees a little bit of that in her.
Or even worse, not actually change your view on anything. Meanwhile, you're just walking around suppressing how you actually feel in the world.
Which is worse. That's so true. And then you would treat us a certain way. You would treat other people a certain way based on that. The fiance, the sister was the fiance. She must have been sending telepathically everything she was thinking to the fiance, because that heifer wouldn't let up off their mother jumping ass.
Not for 2 minutes. She just kept her foot on her neck.
And I loved it.
But I'm also, because I'm glad that she did, because you can see Sarah doing math in the moment. And while she was trying to kind of combat what the sister's girlfriend was saying, it still felt to me like she was also trying to convince herself. Oh, he's kind. He's forward thinking. She was saying things I've never heard her say, but she was just digging these statements out.
It was just adjectives.
When did you? He's what?
It was just a bunch
some of the
adjectives.
stuff she said, I wish I would have wrote it down. I was thinking, he's that? Is this? What are you talking about? This can be your man, and you not create a different human being. Like, what are you talking about?
And I can believe he's a nice guy
to you,
and still don't give a damn about anybody else. And there is something deeply wrong with that. Y'all have to watch The Devil's Advocate. It's funny because I want you to watch it too. One of the greatest. It's such a good movie. But it just shows you how people will be in your face being one way, but deep down their intentions are something else. And if you are willing to be okay with the marginalization of any group of people, there's a problem here.
Full stop. And what we're seeing is the privilege of people only being concerned with how this people treats them.
And the sister told her to her face, he has privilege that you'll never experience.
1,000%. And it came across to me as you taking some of that on and exhibiting a privilege that a lot of other people could never even live in that space.
Yes.
Because what Sarah is focused on, and some of these other women on here is focused on, is how he might feel about you, right? Or how he might treat you today. But how he treats black people or gay people or Jewish people or any other type of group of people may be completely different. I'm sure Hitler had friends that he was very good to. He's good to me.
Apathy is also an issue too, right? So even if you're apathetic about everybody else's plight, you are a agent of the oppressor.
Right.
And that's what I think the sister is trying to say. Sister,
like he
girl,
cannot have an opinion. That's still detrimental to you and me and her and him. You over here like, well, he was good. He bought me dinner last night.
And I'm trying to figure out, right? Also, we're talking about this in this post-hostile environment that we're currently in, right, y'all? So I'm trying to give a little bit of grace because having Joe Biden in office, he kind of put us all under a spell. He was just doing stuff and doing work. We really didn't have to worry about anything. Like I wasn't worried about anything. You know what I mean? And like I am now. Like I'm on high alert. Like now I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on? I wonder if, because at the time, I don't even think they announced that Kamala Harris was the nominee.
It doesn't matter. Donald Trump never stopped running for president since before he was elected the first term.
Okay. True.
He's continued to do rallies every year that he's been in the public political eye.
True.
So you knew that the Republican candidate was going to be a demon child.
Right.
You knew that. So like I said, we haven't been in a place where we could just be asleep at the wheel in years.
Right.
It's been a very long time.
That's true.
Since you could be in a place where somebody asked you who the president was and you said, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been in that place. Somebody said the other day, it was a funny tweet that came out that said, millennials won't have a midlife crisis because their whole adult years have been growing up during crisis.
Yes.
We not our parents, we not our parents. We don't have the luxury of being aloof.
Right. But that's it too. That's why people be getting on my nerves too. You don't even have the luxury to be aloof. That's exactly it, right? But then her sister brings up, he goes to church every Sunday. You know, I'm open to going to church on the holidays or if the family has something big they want me to be in church for. And the sister says, but you don't ever go to church. So then what is this new interest in church?
They'll do anything to get that ring, bro. And this is really showing me something, man. This is when we talk about the men being the prize.
What?
Jokingly, this is what it is.
Joe.
It's that some of you ladies are making the men the prize because they hold this ring in their pocket.
And you are contorting yourself
into pretzels to get what he got in his pocket. And it's as a man, I'm telling you, it's disgusting to watch.
And he got to ask you. See, the problem is that you don't even understand. He still has to ask you.
Y'all would do anything for it. Y'all are selling
You
out.
don't even see yourself as the prize in that regard. Like, well, you know what I mean?
No, because they're not. They're not the prize.
Because
y'all are telling me that the men is the prize.
The grandma is the baby. The men is the prize.
And the men is the prize.
Okay. And that's all and it's getting hard to
y'all don't even agree with these. I almost said the wrong word.
Y'all don't agree
with these dudes.
Y'all don't agree with them.
Y'all don't even agree with these dudes and will be like, but I'm getting married.
It'll be
y'all.
fine. It's not that you need to agree on everything.
No, that's not what we're saying at all.
It's that your core foundation and values have to be aligned.
And they are not. And y'all do not care.
I remember your mom asked me, like, well, if Joe playing in the
oh God, what she say?
If Joe playing in the church band, why don't you go sing in the choir? And I said, son married me because I'm a voodoo priestess. Okay. Don't listen. And I believe you could be a voodoo priestess and a Christian, but I feel like I'm only occupying one of those. Okay. But I get where people are coming from, and I get how that is also a core value for everybody. But our core value is spirituality. Our core value is loving God, loving the Lord. Those are things we don't disagree on. You know what I mean? And I feel like y'all are contorting yourselves. Autonomy is lost on y'all and it's scary. But that's the Stockholm syndrome I'm saying is passed down from your mother's been contorting herself into a pretzel for a man. See, my mother used to yell and scream at my father. So I'm at the place where listen, ain't no man gonna check me, boo. You know what I mean? And that sounds crazy. And my dad would die laughing if he heard me say that. But the truth of the matter is that we had a different threshold for what a man was able to tell us and what we were going to accept based on how my mother interacted about things. I'm not saying that she was right. I'm saying that even in all her wildness, she maintained her own autonomy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Whatever it looked like. And I think that y'all are so afraid to be yourselves that you will be anything for somebody else.
And that's sad. It's sad because some of these people are beautiful people, beautiful women. I think that I look at Sarah or somebody like Virginia, and I think it's no reason why you can't get a man who respects your body or respects your opinion or wants to support your support for LGBTQ rights or Black Lives Matter or whatever the things are that you are passionate about. Even if they don't necessarily same the same passions, they have an opinion enough to be like, you know what, I can get behind that, right? Rather than the opinion of indifference, like, oh, that's cool, you can do that, but I'm not going to do that because I stay out of it.
But you want me to come to church.
Also, if you so indifferent, why you even need her to come to church with you?
If you're so indifferent about human rights, what does church even do for you?
That's a brilliant question. What is it doing for you?
What does it even do for you? If you're so indifferent.
You don't have an opinion. You go to a church every Sunday and you don't have an opinion about...
A man was murdered in the streets.
You don't have an opinion about human rights or health or women's rights or women's health?
How can you even hold to? The wild contradiction in that is so frightening.
It really is, and that's for any religion. How can you be sold out to do anything? Pray 7 times a day, go to a church 3 times a week, go to a mosque, go to anything, and then somebody asks you an opinion about voting or economic
actual situation. She asked a specific question.
How can you how can you worship any deity and then claim that you don't have an opinion about human rights? That's contradictory in itself. That doesn't make any sense. Which tells me, to your point, that y'all just on camera lying. You have an opinion. You just don't want to say what your opinion is.
You have an opinion. White power. That's the opinion.
My opinion is white power.
My opinion is white power.
So I don't know what you want me to say.
And there's that.
Do y'all remember the Chappelle episode where he was a black white supremacist?
But he was blind.
And he was blind.
Hilarious.
He and the thing talking about, but let me tell y'all, completely random. We was in school when this happened. That's how old the Chappelle show is. We was in school. We just walked around, a bunch of black boys walking around the playground like, white power. Just laughing at each other. You better shut up, white power.
That's not funny, yo. But that is so funny.
This is the Chappelle show. What I'm sad about for the kids today is they know who Dave Chappelle is, but they don't know how iconic he is.
They have no idea.
He had a bunch of brown little boys running around the playground talking about, shut up, white power. White power. Why were we saying that?
That's not
Why
funny.
were we saying that?
That's so not funny, but it is also hilarious. And some of y'all need to relax because I know somebody's out there like,
Y'all better get out and go watch that episode and laugh a little bit.
Literally. But she was visibly, it's funny. I thought that baby was going to burst into flames. Now, I love the Lord love me. I can go to church. I ain't going to burst into flames now. But she was like Eddie Murphy in Vampire in Brooklyn when the heat was coming off his head. He was standing outside of the church when that shit was.
She was about to flame on. Okay.
Oh, Jesus. That poor baby. Then she tells him that she listened to a separate service and she felt like their views didn't align with hers on the LGBT, whatever. And the problem I had with Sarah, because this is not a Ben issue. This is really a Sarah issue.
The problem I have with Sarah is the moment the man told you he didn't have an opinion, he's a Christian, but he has no opinion on a man being murdered in the street
Red
for
flags.
no reason. That is the answer.
You should have got up and walked out then.
But you were okay with that because you're white.
And you're an accomplice.
And you, my dear, are an accomplice.
You're an accomplice. Because you would marry this man, feed this man, raise this man kids, be a part of this man's life. Meanwhile, he just out in the world not giving a damn about your plight.
Period.
Or the plight of your sister, your very gay sister.
Yes.
Or the plight of a potential daughter that you could have. Or the
granddaughter. You don't know what your daughter going to bring home or whatever. Especially nowadays. But precisely, Joe. She is an accomplice. And to me, I don't see it for y'all. Let's talk about Daniel and Taylor. It's really nothing to say about them. I really just have one question. What do you feel about her 180 from the beginning?
I'm exhausted of people just flipping. They just flipping. Y'all,
nobody has a stance.
It's nothing but politicians on this show. Like the way that everybody is just turning a new leaf and flipping. I think Taylor. I can see Taylor and Daniel saying yes. I can see them.
I can see them being happy.
I could see them doing life together. I thought the whole shit that she did at the beginning was hella weird. I thought it was diabolical the way that she treated Daniel, and I think now she got to be a sociopath or something. I mean, she's a completely different person.
She's severed.
She is severed. She's completely severed. She don't even have a memory of the stalker, of the Instagram stalker that he used to be. She has no memory of it because she's severed.
But you know what somebody said? They said that she had the app that tells you when people follow you and unfollow you.
Yes, and the petty person in me used to have that app.
Why?
Because I was tracking. Well, first, at the time, I had to track my stats for. They asked you to send a bunch of stats when you used to do endorsements. So I was in the time where I was doing a lot of submitting for endorsements and stuff like that. And then I didn't even really know that feature was in the app. And so I would check it. And if somebody unfollowed me, I'm unfollowing them.
My God.
Because what used to happen was
so petty.
This is what used to happen in that time was people will follow you
to see your page.
No. Just my page was never private. People would follow you just so you can follow them back, but then they would unfollow you. They would do That's why the platform stopped people from doing mass following.
Yeah,
because they would do that just to get their followers up. Hundreds of people a day they would follow, and then they will unfollow them, and keep doing it or whatever. So I had it too, but I just thought, why are we even talking about this?
I think that's a weird thing to have in 2024.
It definitely is.
I know it's 2025, y'all. It was 2024 last year. I think it's odd in 2024.
This is a year ago when they're having these conversations doing all this. This is last year, almost this time.
And I think when you're talking about having it, there wasn't an analytics page on Instagram.
No, they wasn't even hip that people was doing the following thing yet. They hadn't developed that until a while after I had downloaded the app when I did.
So it's just like, I find Taylor and Daniel fascinating. I love that Daniel and Taylor's mom was at the dress fitting. I thought she looked better in the boobier dress, but that was my opinion. I thought the other one was beautiful too. I thought she looked good in both of them, to be honest. I thought it should have just been up to her, which I guess it was. But I love that the both of them were there. She's a beautiful girl, and it's like...
She is, and it's hard to... I be wanting to get with her. When people do
weird
diabolical stuff, I don't forget about it. So I'm just like, I'm having a hard time because that put a nasty taste in my mouth. Because I think she's looked beautiful.
Yes.
I thought when they went to dinner on ice, she looked gorgeous.
Oh, I thought she looked perfect. When they did the Christmas, even though, and I like that she wore the dress.
I thought she looked great in the dress.
I love that. I really, really did. I don't know. You know what it is? It's not Taylor for me. It's Daniel. I like Daniel. And Daniel might be a MAGA Republican, but I like him.
You never know.
You never know.
I like Daniel too, though. I like Daniel too. I just want, and maybe Taylor would be great. Just since it happened, I just always had in my mind, like, I want better for Daniel. I didn't like that she did all that stuff. And maybe she'll be great to him. I hope that she is, you know.
They're going to be Pookie and Jet, y'all. And shout out to y'all for giving me the name, because this baby in this brain was like eating it up. Every time it popped in my brain, it was gone. So it's like, I appreciate that. But yeah, they are giving to me Pookie and Jet. I think she likes him. And I'm saying the reason why I think she likes him is that she leans in to kiss him.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll be out and she'll be like, "Give me a kiss," like you know what I mean. So to me, something is brewing here.
I'm just hoping that it don't turn into a Mueller situation. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about it. That was from Married at First Sight season, where this woman was like a perfectly good spouse the entire time she was on camera. She got a decision day and was like, drop this man like a bad habit and never spoke to him again. You know what I mean?
It was actually iconic.
It was terrible.
It was so
I am nervous that she does something like that. Because even Mueller didn't start off weird.
I don't think, you know what? I don't think her having the mom there, because his mom and her mom were there, I feel like she's serious about this.
I hope
and
so.
they film, and they Christmas their
Christmas card.
Their favorites are a Christmas card, which I actually at first. So two things. I thought it was weird because their wedding is in March, right? And I was like, oh, that's a long way to go to give somebody a Christmas card now. But okay, whatever.
But they might have been doing the Christmas episode around Christmas.
No, this is not that long. They only do 2 months of filming. It's really like they don't do like it that.
He did say that he did say that. Yeah, I don't know. The other thing is he did say that he starts prepping for his Christmas cards
9 months in advance. So it's not far fetched.
Diabolical. It was so sad to hear that this single young man was prepping and executing his own solo Christmas cards and sending them out.
But what did they look like, yo?
I don't know.
Somebody send me one.
That is, I felt very sad for him. This man obviously wants to be married. He obviously wants a family. That's all he had. He should have just laid with that in the pots. I do my own Christmas cards.
Literally. I do my own Christmas card. No, she'd have thought he was stalking her because she's like, wait a minute. But
she definitely would have called the cops on him. So
she'd have called the cops. So when we were watching this episode, right? We're watching David and Lauren because if you watched the 3 episodes, they actually start with David and Lauren. We went out of order because we're just looking at these pictures on our slides. But Joe, in the moment while watching Lauren be an accomplice, that's where he said, you know, I am starting not to like this woman. And at first I was blaming him, thinking she's a victim in this. But would you like to say what you said, honey?
No, you're right. I mean, that's what I was thinking. I thought, because it was during a moment where she was like crying and he was doing this whole thing of dragging this whole thing out again about the friends and the family and the sister and blah, 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 blah. And I felt so bad for her. And I thought, in that moment, like, why does she keep taking this punishment? Why does she keep signing up for this? This boy is diabolical. Why does she keep fighting to be with him? And then I thought in that moment, like, I got to stop. She chose this man.
Period.
She chose him in the pods. She chose him when he sat down in the pods. It hadn't shown his face to her yet and was joking about how fat and ugly she was or whatever that weird joke was. She chose them after that and then.
Yep.
And then she saw his face and chose him. And then this whole thing happened with the friends and the family and the weird guy who sends her friend a text message that's saying, why don't we break up this marriage? She chooses him again. The same way that Ben could sit up in Sarah's face and say he don't have an opinion about women's rights and black people's rights and all of this other stuff and gay rights. The same way he could say he don't have an opinion about that and Sarah chose her. Sarah's not a victim because she's choosing to be a part of that situation.
Period. And she gonna say yes.
It just became so apparent to me in that moment. No one is forcing Lauren to chase this man in the way of him being the prize, like we just talked about, because he's clearly the prize in this situation. Why else would you be brought to tears over this man every other day?
If y'all think Joe will ever leave this house and his phone dies, it's 2024. It's no chargers anywhere. What are we talking about? Oh, my phone died. Your phone died and it went to green. It will be smoke in the mother jumping city.
But this is
okay.
But this is after he has spent days gaslighting you to make you the problem.
Yes.
About a man who you barely even know, who he barely even knows.
Yes.
This is where I realized, you know what? A lot of y'all are trying to be painted as victims, and y'all really accomplices.
And
y'all
that's
tether
why
yourselves to these terrible people, and we got to start judging people by the people who they keep company with. You don't have to be with this man. You could have let this man alone in the ponds.
1,000%. And I completely agree. And that's why Luther King was getting on my goddamn nerves.
1,000%.
Because you chose, you had these producers got y'all in your ear, and I get that. But like at some point, you got to be like the point, and I guess I'm bringing up Married at First Sight. At the point at which he calls you a sexual predator, there's no coming back from that for me. You've crossed the line that we can't come back from. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just because if I do the same to you, what does your life look like?
You would be an idiot not to draw the line.
You would be an idiot not to draw the line. The truth is, you said it because you wanted me to draw a line. And yet I kept coming back. So then the victimness of this keeps it's leaving pace by pace, and it's starting to think you like this kind of behavior.
Especially when these people are not bamboozling you. Meaning, David has shown Lauren who he was from the very beginning of the pods. That's why I referenced the weird joke about how ugly she probably looks or old or whatever that joke was. That's why I referenced it, because he's not swindling you. He's not putting on a mask and then taking it off. And then it's like, well, who is this person? This is not who I fell in love with. That's not what's happening. These people are just showing up, same way, showing up who they are, operating the same way, saying the same shit to everybody. They're not two-faced
at all.
They're not slick
at all.
They're just being who they are.
And it's worked for them for a very long time.
And they're showing you who they are from the very beginning, and you still are choosing to be with them. And then you want somebody to feel bad for you after they are running amok all over you.
Then come to find out, when David comes home, he comes home after an entire night out. They goes to 2 bars. One of the bars, the cast is there. Molly is there. And
but also, the cast doesn't just happen to all be together. What do you mean?
Come on and stop fucking playing.
We just happen to go to a bar that everybody is at, even a girl that I used to talk to.
Please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. And it's just like so odd. And then he gaslights her in this moment because, unbeknownst to us, her parents have come into town to meet him. So you miss out on the entire night of being around me and my parents. He was like, oh, you went to see your parents? She's like, yes, they came into town for us to all hang out. You know what I mean? Like, came into the city for us to all hang out. You didn't even have a common sense of the mind to just do that because you really don't give a damn about her. And in that moment, she's still contorting herself into a pretzel.
Still.
I get it. You're going to experience conflict with your spouse. But in the same way that there are like core values and everything like that, these traits, these like gaslighting, and I hate to use the word narcissistic, but for lack of a better word, narcissistic traits, this shit is nothing to be played with.
It's really not, but y'all don't really care.
So y'all don't care because y'all rather have a piece of a man.
Yes.
Y'all would rather have a piece of a man than no man. And the truth of the matter is, and when I'm talking and I'm coaching the women around me about their endeavors with men, a big part of what I say is these men are picking you because they know you only a piece of you. I don't have to be committed to 100% to a person because you only 20% anyway. And the truth is your 20% is okay with me only giving you 20%.
Yeah.
And that's all I want to put in any damn way. And that's why y'all get ran through. That's why can't nobody find a motherfucking man. That's why everybody out here, do you know how easy it is to find a good? And the problem is,
but it can't nobody find nothing, and it's getting ran through. They running amok on you. They saying they talking about how they don't give a damn about your healthcare rights and all this other stuff. But guess what y'all worried about? He's 6 foot. This is what I was talking about the other day.
But y'all,
this is what I was talking about the other day. We so worried about how tall the motherfucker is, but we don't want to talk about how diabolical they treat you.
At all.
I don't give a damn how short he is. Does he treat you good?
I don't give a damn. But you have not been treated good ever, so that you don't even know why you shouldn't give a damn about how short, how tall, what he looked like. Like, these are things that don't matter. But you don't know what it feels like to have somebody value you 100% because you showing up with 20 and they showing up to only give you 20.
And the truth of the matter is, if David was 5'6", Lauren wouldn't be going through this and crying every day. And I'm learning that from hearing y'all talk about what y'all want. Because everybody can tell that David is diabolical.
How can we all tell that universally?
But guess what? He's going to walk outside and it's going to be 10 other women to line up to date this guy.
Yo, that's not up for debate.
That's my issue with
a
it.
lot of y'all are pick-me's, and I don't even like really that term, but it is such a true statement of how you all interact with the opposite sex. Y'all would take anything. Y'all would take the scraps from these mother jumpers, and they know it. And then you would turn around and get mad at us for being like, you look stupid.
Look like you silly.
You the one who looks stupid. He don't look stupid. He's capitalizing on his opportunity. Period.
He's being who he is, and that's why I don't. That's why I got to. That's why I had to stop myself for feeling bad for Lauren, because David has been this.
I don't feel bad for her.
David has been this person since the very beginning in the pods, bro.
And the truth is, when you thought he was being diabolical to Molly, you was okay with it.
Oh yeah,
he just gonna be that way to me, and that's weird as hell. If my man don't hold the door for another woman, I'm looking at him weird. Because that's a value. You know what I mean? Like, you should be a gentleman to people you are around.
But they are around here. This is what we be talking about with the whole political stance, right? They are now divorcing themselves from how this man moves in the world, his opinion about the world, how he treats other people in the world. He don't give a damn that. Sarah don't give a damn that Ben can give a fuck less about a George Floyd. All she cares about is did he get on a knee and propose to me?
That's all she cares
Even
about.
though in the moment I realized we are not aligned on this. But hold on, he has a ring in his pocket.
Which is exactly why the world in 2025 is in the state that it is, because people only care about themselves.
Yeah.
And in some part that makes sense, but it's just such a minuscule view of the world. David is a terrible human being. His sister did not want him to come on this show because his sister knew he was a terrible human being. I believe,
or she's in love with him. I don't know what's going on there.
Or the sister is a wife.
There's some weird, it's some weird stuff going on with the sister who we never. Is she a ghost? Does she even still exist? I don't know.
Who is this woman?
We've never seen this one, but all he talks about is the sister, and she has seemingly so much power over his life that either they are dating each other or he is just a full on. He's just a bitch.
Yeah.
I don't mean to call, like, you know what I mean. I don't mean to speak so crass, but like, I don't know another man who would forsake his fiance, not go after a woman who he claims he's so in love with because of the opinion of his sister.
Like what?
I don't know not one.
And I know he lost his mama. I still don't know one. I just feel like he is a walking red flag. He's on social media crying about the backlash he's getting from his edit. And I believe that they do edit things certain ways. But we have seen this man. They have allowed this man to speak for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time. And it gets worse and worse and worse. He's exactly who we all think he is. And if you are in the Minneapolis area or any of the surrounding states, you need to stay far away from him. He does not deserve the company of a woman.
It's not going to happen, because all you got to be is
not going to happen.
Is have your hair combed and be at least 6 foot out.
And
there.
the problem
That's what y'all
is,
told
Joe,
me. That's what I'm hearing.
The problem is that if more women had self-worth, more men would act right.
1,000%. I don't think that's an opinion. I think that's a fact. I honestly don't.
The truth of that, women, like, I be talking to people and I be astounded by the things that they go through. Like, astounded. But the truth of the matter is, that is a direct reflection of the worth that you see in yourself.
Yeah.
See, nobody would ever try me with no bullshit like that. You know what I mean? And I do come into things very matter-of-factly. I just, this is just, because we're going to be aligned on some things, and these are the things we need to be aligned on, and then we can figure everything else out. The moment you allow somebody to tap dance on your boundaries, they will habitually overstep. And y'all allow it at every turn. If he cute enough, he got enough money, any of those things. Because you don't give a damn about yourself. And I know y'all be like, I be on these soapboxes, but I am so tired of seeing it, Lord Jesus Christ.
It's a pandemic.
I'm so tired of seeing it. Okay? And it is a pandemic. And it's annoying because men would act right if y'all stood the hell up. If you just gave a damn about yourself, you so wanting to be picked. You want to be picked so motherfucking bad. Oh my God, anybody, please.
People will take advantage of people who allow them to.
And then you become an accomplice.
And then you become an accomplice. And I'm gonna stop picturing y'all as victims and calling y'all as y'all should be called. And y'all should be called accomplices, because that's what y'all are. Y'all are fueling these people. Because he's this way because it's never stopped him from getting women.
Ever.
And it won't.
And it won't.
Even on national television.
Treating somebody like this, it won't. It'll stop him from getting Molly, because when Mama heard what happened
today, that's Molly on TV, because we fuck around and find out she done slid into his DMs or something like that. I don't even believe.
Damn, you don't even give Molly. I want to give Molly. From what we can see, I'm gonna give Molly her props, because I thought she handled that situation perfectly, because it really clocked him in real time. They go bowling or whatever the case may be. They get into it at the theater about her messing with this man who is not her man, who is in a situationship, who know, Lauren, you did not owe an ending to. But the reason why I know you have low self-worth is that you wrote a letter to a stranger about who through this man, David, said that she wouldn't speak to you about your sexual exploits. Are you dumb? Do you hear how stupid that sounded? You might as well just write a book. You might as well be Zane. Give it to all of us. Let us all read it. You know what I mean? Like, what the is going on?
Get it published.
Stand up.
Get some dollars for it.
You a grown ass woman. In the same way you sat in his face and said, kept it 100, I slept with him then, I did this, I did that. You didn't owe none of them an explanation. Nobody. Outside of one time you explained yourself. You allowed yourself to be gaslit, and that shit was irking my soul.
And for what? For David? You doing all this? That's what's so confusing to me. You going through all this for this man,
the prize,
this mediocre man who you met in a box 2 weeks ago? You doing all this for him?
The prize, Joe. She did it for the prize. He meets her mother, begrudgingly. I don't give a damn. He did not want to meet the mother. The whole time it was a disingenuous interaction. But the mom, oddly, was very genuine and open. And you know what she said that I like? She said, I trust Lauren. So we just going to rock with her on this process. We just going to support her through it. He says, well, yeah, my dad is out of town a lot, so he might not be around for this. And my sister's not bought in. And the mom said, well, how does that make you feel? Like, in that moment, you don't think this motherfucker's unserious. You, the woman who already gave this raggedy mother jumper some poom poom, y'all be so dumb. No, Joe, it really bothers me. And it's not even on no, like, somebody said some red pill bullshit. It ain't even on no red pill.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either. It's like men in microphones and talking about whatever. Women have to stop hating themselves. I don't know. Google it. Women have to stop hating themselves. It's really exhausting. It's exhausting to watch. It's exhausting to be a part of, especially because, like, if you really thought you was a god on this earth, you would move differently, and you would expect other people to move around you differently. Mm-hmm. And it's just so clear that y'all aren't even like followers of the Lord. Y'all servants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's really getting exhausting to watch. We watched this man come in, talk to your mama. To me, in the old very laissez-faire, I knew then he wasn't going to do nothing with your ass. Talking to your mama like, well, yeah, they just don't believe in that. She, based on who she dated before and everything like that, it's too much. Then, obviously, off camera, the father checked him. Which, baby, I wish we would have saw it.
Yeah.
Because that shit bothered him deep.
It really did. And I don't know what that interaction was, but I do wish I would have at least seen what it was. Or at least seen... I wish they would at least showed them going to meet the father.
And then what his face looked like once it was cracked.
Yeah, because it was kind of confusing the way it was edited, the way they went into it. I'm like, wait, when did this happen?
When he tried to he gaslit this woman. They're in a theater and they're having this conversation when they decide to break up. The entire time he's gaslighting her like, well, does your dad even know the story about why I feel this way? She was like, yes. And his feeling is, if you really wanted to be married,
you would be getting married.
It wouldn't matter what I was doing. No, he doesn't understand. Like, me, every time she talks to the man, him and the guy is closer. No, first literally. It was, they
know him a little bit, or we have a friend of a friend. We have mutual friends. Now,
I know the guy. Now the guy's my brother. Like, it's just like out of control.
Me and the guy's actually stepbrothers.
Like, we hang out all the time. It's like the lies. And the problem with this is that she allowed herself to endure this for days.
That's what That's what I was talking about. I got to stop feeling bad. I can't do it no more. You keep showing up and signing up for this to the point where he had to dump you. You wouldn't even dump him. I can't even give you kudos for being broken up.
But the problem with that too is this another reason why he ain't no good. This new thing, not new thing, because this is not new. This thing where men terrorize women so women can leave them instead of the man just leaving a situation he does not like is very odd to me.
But it's not odd, Zar, because they are the prize. So these women aren't leaving because they so desperately need to be coveted by this person. They are not going to leave. He has exit power because she ain't going nowhere. He done dragged this woman through the mud, done made all types of weird, crude comments to her, made her plead her case almost through second and third hand to his friends and his families who haven't showed up not once to talk to anybody that we've seen. And yet he ends up dumping her.
Yes.
It's because he's the prize. She was never going to dump him.
Then he tries to come back and talk to you. The whole shit is just, this is so stupid to me. It feels so juvenile.
It is juvenile. It's immature. I think the whole conversation is weak. Everybody know, I'm sorry if some of you feel like, oh, my mama opinion and my daddy opinion just hold so much weight. My sister opinion holds so much weight. My mom, my dad, my sister, they all know I love them to death. All my people know that I love them to death. Whenever I talk about my parents in public, I cry almost every time. Do I not? Yes, I don't like talking about them. I love them to death. I give a damn what they think about whether or not I should be married to my wife, whether or not I never cared. And I'm talking about going back to high school. I never cared, especially once I became adult, start paying my own bills, paying my own car note. I don't give a damn what you think. I want to be with her. I'm going to be with her. There was never a world, as much as I love my mama or my dad or my sister, there was never a world where their opinion was going to dictate the person who I lay next to every night. That's beyond weak to me. That's why I have no sympathy, not not for anybody who does it. Men, women, dog, or cat. I think y'all are weak. I think y'all are weird. I'm sorry. I think it's so weird when people are like, well, my mama don't like you. I don't think this is going to work out. You're weird. I'm sorry. You're weak.
You're weird AF. Well, you don't understand. We have a strong bond, and
okay,
your dad didn't want to meet me, and she was like on camera. He was going to meet you off camera. That's what he did. Your people didn't even want to meet me, but I don't even believe that to be true. I believe that he did not want her to meet them. I don't believe that these people said, no, don't bring her around. She's a harlot and a Jezebel. It's 2024.
Maybe they did. That's the thing. Maybe they did. But even if they did, you shouldn't care. My point is, let's say they did do it. I don't give a damn. Don't be around her then. If my family would have said, we're not going to talk to you if you marry Zar, I'd have said, God bless. I'll see you in the next life. What the like, I'm an adult. Like, what is this?
But that was never going to happen because they just met 2 days ago. So then he had the nerve to get drunk. This man is a terrible, terrible human being.
He was talking to Lauren in the last scene, visibly getting drunker every word.
It was like they were giving him shots in between.
And we just didn't see it somehow. The conversation started with his eyes one color.
Yes.
By the time the conversation ended, he was kneeling over. His eyes was bloodshot red, and he could barely string together 2 words.
Yes.
And Lauren's like, yeah, but saying something. I couldn't even focus on what she was saying because he was like.
She stood on business. She said, you know what? It's too late for all of this. You could have called me if you wanted to.
She kind of said that.
I know. They're probably together right now. The point of the matter is, this baby is fighting me. And I gotta go. Okay. That's my truth. And I'm gonna be telling you, I'm gonna be complaining about this baby from now until when this baby is born. Okay. It's literally zapping me of all my resources.
Well, you did it, babe.
I did it. Oh, y'all don't know. This was a feat for me. Thank you, honey, for being patient with me and really helping me get through it because I was having a hard time.
No, good job. I thank you for fighting through it.
No, I appreciate it. Final thoughts. Who's getting married? Who's saying yes? Who's saying no?
I think they all gonna say yes.
I think
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think they all gonna say yes.
If Sarah says no, I would be so surprised, and that would be a testament to her brilliant sister and her fiance.
Yeah.
Thank y'all so much for joining us again. I'm your girl, Zar Eleanor. I'm being joined by my beautiful husband, Joseph Conner. And we'll see you beautiful mother jumpers later.
Peace.
Bye.